Have you ever felt like you were sinking in life? Like you're stuck in a pit so deep, it's impossible to climb out on your own. Maybe it feels like you've waited forever, praying and pleading with God, but the rescue you've been hoping for hasn't come yet. Does this sound familiar? It's a feeling many of us know all too well: the frustration, the exhaustion, the temptation to give up. And it's right there in these moments of struggle that Psalm 40 meets us. King David's cry for help resonates deeply because it's not just his story, it's ours too. And the best part, David reminds us of something life-changing. God always hears us. In this video, we're going to dive into Psalm 40 and see what it teaches about trusting God through seasons of waiting, finding hope in his deliverance, and the transformation that happens when we let him lift us out of our pits. Please support our ministry by sharing this video, and please like and subscribe to our channel. The reality of the pit. Psalm 40 begins with an uncomfortable truth. Life is full of pits. David describes it as a horrible pit, a place of despair, darkness, and uncertainty. For us today, these pits may come in many forms: financial struggles, health crises, broken relationships, or even spiritual dryness. In these moments, it can feel like we're abandoned. But David reminds us that God is always listening. It's in these pits where we often discover the depth of our need for God. David says he waited patiently for the Lord, which shows us that the rescue doesn't always come immediately. However, the waiting is not in vain. God is not silent. God inclines his ear. What's powerful about Psalm 40 is that it doesn't just describe the waiting, it emphasizes the response. He inclined unto me and heard my cry. This isn't a passive listening. The word inclined suggests God actively leans in to hear us. How comforting is that? God isn't distant or indifferent. He is intimately aware of your situation. Deliverance comes with a purpose. When God delivers, he doesn't just pull us out of the pit and leave us. Verse 2 tells us, "He brought me up also out of a horrible pit, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings." God's rescue is thorough. He gives us a new foundation, a new direction, and renewed purpose. He doesn't just bring us out to leave us wandering. He establishes us in his will. And what happens after this rescue? Verse 3 says, "He hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God." The trials and the waiting lead to transformation. Your story of deliverance becomes a testimony that others see and hear. David notes that many will see and trust in the Lord because of what God has done in his life. This is a reminder that our seasons of waiting are not just about us. They're about what God wants to do through us. Trusting in the Lord, not in ourselves. Psalm 40 also gives a powerful contrast between trusting God and following the world's ways. "Blessed is the man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies." This verse challenges us to examine where we put our trust. In the pit, it's tempting to rely on quick fixes or human wisdom, but David calls us to keep our trust in God, whose works and thoughts toward us are too numerous to count. Surrender and obedience. One of the most profound parts of Psalm 40 is found in verses 6 through 8. David declares that God is not interested in empty sacrifices or rituals. What he desires is a heart that delights in doing his will. David says, "I delight to do thy will, O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart." This is the key to walking in the deliverance God provides, surrendering to his will. It's about more than being saved from a tough situation. It's about being transformed by God's grace so that we live in alignment with His purpose. The new song of praise. At the end of the day, the waiting and the trials are not wasted. They lead to a renewed sense of purpose and a new song of praise. When God rescues us, He doesn't just lift us out of the pit. He puts joy back into our hearts, and that joy overflows into praise. When others see the change in your life, they too will be drawn to trust in the Lord. Your story of deliverance can inspire others to seek God's help in their own lives. Trusting in God's timing. Psalm 40 teaches us the importance of waiting on God and trusting Him even when we're in the pit. He hears our cries, rescues us in His perfect timing, and gives us a new foundation to stand on. The deliverance He brings is never just about survival. It's about transformation, purpose, and praise. If you're in a pit right now, remember this: God is listening. He is working on your behalf, and in His timing, He will lift you up and put a new song of praise in your mouth. So keep trusting, keep waiting, and know that God's deliverance is coming. Please support our ministry by sharing this video, and please like and subscribe to our channel.